proudest day and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.
Welcome along to Krunching Gears, the rally podcast. At that time of the year, when things were quiet on the stages, so we thought we'd catch up with some of the guys from the WRC. We had the pleasure of speaking to Aaron Johnston there, just, one of the top co-drivers in the world. We can't underestimate this. And then also the JWRC guys in as well. We spoke to our world champions, Will and Liam, and then also Conor and Eamonn as well. And then Seb Scott then, who was joining them as well. He was at this stage now Msport Coordinator. So we had a couple of evenings, Conor, of brilliant crack and great chats.
Oh, look, this was recorded in the run-up to Christmas. Everybody, mentally busy, loads to do. So we really appreciate the fact they took time out to sit down and chat to us. And whilst, what you're about to hear is only part of the conversation, we had to edit loads. But, we really did have the crack with the guys.
Yeah, there were some strange rabbit holes, especially them JWRC's guys. Seb Scott, you're a legend. You're a strange man, but you're a great crack. And thank you very much for taking the time, along with all the rest of them coming on. It was some crack. Like those guys, they rally hard, but they obviously enjoy the crack as well.
Oh, look, they built up a great relationship. Seb's known William and Liam for the last 3 years. So Seb, in his previous role as coordinator with the JWRC, and I want to wish Seb all the best as he's just recently moved from Msport to Hyundai. To what do you call it, oversee the social media there. But he's known Will and Liam for the last 3 years. He's known Eamonn and Conor now for the last year. Yeah, just the relationship and the bond and the crack that seems to have gone on, when they've all been on tour. It was brilliant just to catch up with them and be part of that for an hour or two.
That's for sure. And we touch on it as well. The way these guys have developed, we spoke last week about, that Will has become an ambassador. Like Conor and Eamonn, Conor especially. Conor, the first time we had him on the podcast, was as quiet as a mouse. Now he's there, and he has his thing to say, and he's not afraid to say it now either.
No, well, that's it. Look, every event is experience. Every event they're getting challenged, and then every event they have to do the media and speak to the press and do the pieces for all the PR stuff. So they're gaining experience not just on the stages, but they're that piece of going out and meeting and talking and representing the sport. That they're all fully involved in it and they can't escape it.
Yeah, and we've said it before and we'll say it again, no doubt. MI Rally Academy, what it is, give these young guys as well too. Like yes, let's give them up. The opportunity on the stages, but it has polished them as human beings as well.
Well, that's it. When they're not competing, the weekly meetings with as part of the academy, they've got training days and all the rest of it and development days. And, they're kept busy constantly, when they're not competing. They've a lot of work to do and we can see it paying off.
That's for sure. And, talking about people being busy, Aaron Johnston, this guy, one of only a handful of co-drivers in the world who is at the top line, at the absolute pinnacle of the sport, the Rally 1 car, and in the world championship, winning team like Toyota. For Aaron to give his time to come on and chat to us, it blows my mind, and he's so given of his time as well.
Listen, we're hugely appreciative of him. He's kept us up to date throughout the year. He literally had just arrived home, having been flown back from Finland where they've been testing. It's just amazing the insight he's given us and the time he's taken to give us that insight on what's going on in his career and what's happening with the team and his relationship with Taka as well and how they're developing.
That's for sure. Like we said it before, but again, we'll say it again too. Japan, it was amazing the run they had. 9 fastest times over the course of the weekend. It's a story of what could have been But even the story that they made, that it has to give them great confidence going into 2024.
Absolutely. Look, they had a fantastic rally after stage two. Stage two caught them out, but they got away with it. Had that not happened, potentially could have been fighting for the lead or second or third there in the podium. Definitely. Phenomenal result in really tricky weather conditions in tight stages where there's no margin for error or no room for error in those roads in Japan. And again, with the pressure of home event for Taka and in front of the CEO of Toyota, they're basically their boss, effectively. So like that's a lot of pressure was on the two guys, and they delivered.
For sure. And you look at the second half of the season this year, and Taka has really come up to the top table. From I think it's Safari onwards. Like, this guy deserves his place at the very top table now. And fingers crossed 2024 we'll see him finally claiming the ultimate goal of a one, and maybe challenging a wee bit closer to the top of the championship standings as well.
Absolutely. As you say, look, they had a stronger second half. They were point scoring for the team. They contributed to Toyota winning the manufacturer's title. They did deliver this year, and again, looking forward to being stuck in the middle of that fight again next year. Aaron, thanks for joining us. It's in the run up to Christmas, and thought it'd be a great opportunity to catch up with you. Now you're back home again. Just, I suppose basically, how has your year been?
Yeah, Conor, first of all, thanks for having me back on the podcast. It's great to get another catch up with you this year. Our year, I think, has been pretty good. It started off a little bit rocky, I would say, with the accident in Sweden and Mexico. But since sort of halfway through the year, Estonia, Finland time, until the end of the season, of course, in Japan, I think the second half has been really good for us, and we have been competitive on almost every event and winning stages and fighting for good results. So overall, I would say it's been a decent year and one that we can definitely build on heading into 24.
Yeah, I suppose to use a football saying, it has been a game of two halves for you. Really, didn't just quite go your way up until really, I suppose, Kenya. It all started to fall into place again for yourself and Taka.
Yeah, listen, that's rallying sometimes, like we love to say over here, and we had high hopes going into 23 off the back of probably our best season for both of us separately in 22, and we had some high aspirations and goals, and at the beginning of the year it didn't just fall our way, and we were unlucky in a lot of places as well, but you have to make your own luck, and I think we were able to turn it around then, like you say, from Kenya on. And overall, I think we can be pretty happy with what we achieved this year, and like I say, we again will go into 24 with high hopes.
And this year, yourself and Taka were scoring points for the manufacturer on the rounds that Sebastian Ogier wasn't competing in. Did you feel any extra pressure with that, or kind of it was expected, that's where you'd be, so it didn't really impact?
Yes, there's always pressure, I would say, and of course when we were upgraded to the A team, let's say, to score the manufacturer's points for half the season, it was very important then to bring the points home and help the tally for the manufacturers championship. But of course, Sweden, we were fighting for the victory up until the accident on Friday afternoon, and this was one of the events obviously that we were nominated to score points on, so that was a bit disappointing. But then going to Finland, of course, where we scored the podium this year, and we had a double podium with Elvin obviously winning the rally. It was nice to bring home a good, strong, solid points finish there, especially when Callie had to retire for good on the Saturday. So, yeah, listen, it doesn't really change the way that you attack the events. As competitors, we want to do the best job that we can every time we get into the car, and that's our main focus. And it was just in the back of our minds, yes, that it was important to finish and score the points, but I would say it did not really change our approach to how we tackled the rallies. any great way.
And would you say Finland was the highlight of the year, the podium on the rally everybody wants to do well in, if not win?
Yeah, I think Finland is the home of rallying, as they always say, and to score a podium here was very special, especially when we had Aikio-san over from Japan with us that weekend as well. So I think, when I was growing up and watching rallying and falling in love with the sport, it was always the big jumps and the air that the cars were getting in Finland. And to say that we have now achieved a podium there as well, it's something I will never forget. Hopefully next year we can do the same, if not maybe 1 or 2 steps higher.
Yeah, and I'm sure, extra special for Taka as well. Japanese team, Japanese driver, but the team's based in Finland, and Taka's been living in Finland for a few years as well.
Yeah, the finish of the rally is less than 10 kilometers away from the factory in Jyske. So, yeah, of course, we have a lot of Finnish people in the team, and we wanted to do well on, let's say, the second home event for them. And it's important to do that when there is so many people working from the factory that maybe don't always get to travel to the events. So to bring home a double podium when everybody is there in Jyväskylä, it's important for the team and for us as competitors. It's a nice way to repay all the work that the guys and girls in the factory do for us.
And I can only imagine too, the Safari Rally must have been a special moment, like a 1, 2, 3, 4 finish for the team. Like that's quite incredible.
Yeah, okay, it's the second year we've done the 1, 2, 3, 4 now, and I think it's massive credit, like I say, to everyone working from the factories and on site to go to the most challenging and demanding event on the calendar 2 years in a row and bring all 4 cars home 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's an event I enjoy. It's a massive challenge from start to finish, and you never really know what you have in store, but it's an adventure more so than a rally. And I think the style and the nature, obviously, that we are driving through makes it a once in a lifetime experience, and it's an event that I always like to go to every year.
And how do you balance it in the car, that in the sense that balance between, like, the Safari's a car breaker. It's a tough event between rough roads, tough conditions. You had heavy rains this year, and then you have the water splashes, which we know can take cars out. So how do you get that balance between, car empathy and, being on the limit?
I would say that the car empathy now has maybe taken a back step, and for sure there is places that you have to take care over bedrock and big holes, and of course the water splashes. But to be honest, it's pretty much business as usual. It's a proper race. You're fighting at the end of a 20-kilometer stage for a handful of seconds. So it's not like the classic like we have just watched over the last 2 weeks with the guys from home competing there. It's still an all-out race, and yeah, you have to be smart. You have to use your head, and you have to look after the car. But if you're just going with this approach, then the times aren't there. So it's finding that balance. And I would say, to be honest, it's probably more so race pace than being empathetic and mechanically sympathetic. So you can be unlucky, you can be lucky also in some scenarios, but our guys and girls built a strong car, and they allow us to push to the limits, even with the challenges that the Safari represents. And
what do you call it? Central European was a new event to the championship this year. 3 different countries, 3 variations of asphalt, getting your car set up. You had long days as well, a lot of road sections. How did you find it? And then, weather-wise, it was tricky as well.
It's always nice to go to a new rally. Of course, you have the classics like we spoke, Finland or Portugal, that are used almost every year. But when you go to a new event, it presents new challenges, and everybody's starting from an even playing field. So it was an event I enjoyed. Like you say, the weather probably didn't help it, and there was a lot of cuts and pollution on the road. So it was a massive challenge, especially when you were going with totally brand new notes and you weren't, sure how far you could go into these cuts and if there was anything hidden. But yeah, for us, I think the event went pretty okay. It was nice to do a tarmac rally again after, was it 9 gravel events in a row? So obviously coming from Ireland, it's nice to do a proper sealed surface event, and it would have just been nice if the weather was a little bit more kinder to us. But hopefully next year we won't have the demanding conditions like we did this year.
And for an event like that that's new, as you said, previous notes, obviously there's no onboards for you to go and study either. What extra preparation has to go into getting yourselves ready for an event like that?
Yeah, it's clear now with the tools that we have, like the All Live and the WRC Plus, you can really study the onboards and find out tricky places or moments that guys have had in the past. But for Central Europe, we didn't have this. We only had the organizer videos that they are recording at maybe 40, 50 kilometers an hour. So it's something that you spend maybe more time on with them instead with the lack of actual rally onboards. And it's good to have an idea of the general characteristics of the roads before you go, so you're not going in completely blind. And of course, some of the roads had been used on national events before, and with YouTube, we were able to, find a few sections that give you an idea, but of course not at the speeds we would be going. But you have to make a bit more of an effort to find the information that's available for new events, and put in the effort to study and to try to find a small advantage before you arrive on site to do the recce.
And then season wrapped up in Japan, Taka's home event. Lots of excitement, lots of pressure as well, I'm sure, on the two of you to get a good result, and got off to an unlucky start, or maybe a lucky escape on stage 2.
Yeah, Japan was a case of what might have been. Okay, to be honest, I haven't really thought too much about that because I still think overall we had a very strong weekend with, was it 9 stage wins? And yeah, stage 2 we were caught out on a shiny braking into a medium speed right, and the car locked up and we hit the tree on the outside. And like you say, maybe we were lucky, maybe we were unlucky, but at least we didn't end up in the river like Danny and Adrian. But yeah, up until this point, we were 13 seconds quicker than anybody else at the first split. So we wanted to go for it. It's Taka's home event. It was the last round of the season. All the titles for Toyota had already been sewn up, so it was sort of a pressure-free weekend to just drive the cars and enjoy the stages in Japan. That was the goal, and the goal was to try and be as competitive as we could. And we realized, very quickly that the conditions on Friday morning were going to be incredibly difficult and a massive challenge. But we accepted that we have to try to make a difference from the beginning, because if you lose a lot of time, early in the rally, like it was on Friday morning, it's very hard to pull back. And this time the roll of the dice, let's say, didn't fully work out for us, but I think we can be happy and proud of what we did that weekend on again a very tricky rally with very changeable conditions and some of the most technical and twisty roads in the championship.
And from your role in the car, after an incident like that, is there a I suppose, how do you get Taka settled? Is it a case of distraction or just a case of calming or coaching? How do you get him back? That obviously you get ruffled by having an incident, and you had to limp through as well then with the damaged radiator until service. So I suppose, how do you keep things calm in the car?
Okay, well, let's say immediately after we touched the tree, the only thing that's going through your mind is getting the car fired back up again turning around because we were facing the wrong way down the stage, and trying to minimise the time loss that we had already sustained. Thankfully, the radiator didn't bust completely. It was more of a slower leak, so we were able to continue for maybe 10 kilometers before we had to switch to the EV and finish the stage like this. And the most important thing for Taka anyway was to keep obviously the concentration up and drive the car and listen to the notes, because I can monitor everything else with the temperatures and the situation with the car from my co-driver display, so he can just concentrate on the driving, and I can keep him informed on the situation with the car as and when we get the alarm. But yeah, thankfully, like I say, the radiator wasn't totally destroyed, and we were able to repair then on the road section to the following stage, and again minimise the time lost there. And the fourth stage of the loop then was cancelled, and we were able to get back to service, and the guys gave us a brand new car then to go out on the second loop of Friday, which we set fastest times in all three stages. So it's just putting something like that when it happens to the back of your mind, and concentrating on the job that is in front of you, and how to maximise or should I say minimise the damage that has been done. But for us, of course, we were disappointed, but we kept fighting right up until the very end. And I think to come home in fifth place, not so far away behind EP in fourth after all the dramas that we had, we have to be pleased with.
And it must be fantastic for yourself, you know, to finish the year in Japan, you know, the home event for the Toyota itself. You've clinched the manufacturer's title, which you've contributed to, and you've also, as a team, clinched the driver's title. So it must be great to then celebrate with the head office, basically.
Yeah, of course. You know, we work very hard throughout the year, and there is a sense of relief, let's say, when you get to the finish of the season, having won all the titles, especially for us this year when we were contributing to the Manufacturers' Championship, and everybody in the team shares the same goal and the same dreams, and that is to be the best. And now Toyota have achieved that again for, is it the third or fourth year in a row? So we will keep fighting and try to bring it home again in 24.
And Aaron, you obviously spend an awful lot of time away from home between pre-event testing and actually getting in, you know, doing your notes, etc., and then competing in the actual rallies. But you find a bit of time during the year to give something back. You were there at the Bushwhacker doing start control and marshalling. You know, is it nice to give something back when you have the opportunity?
Yeah, it's very important. Look, I have taken an awful lot out of this sport, and yeah, I don't be at home so much, but the Bushwhacker and even 5 Mile Town that Oma Motor Club run, if I am here, I do try my best to help out and give something back, even though it's a very small thing and sacrifice to make, to give a few days of your time back to your local motor club. And there's a lot of guys in the motor club that have supported me from the very start of this journey, and I hope in the years to come that I can get even more involved when I'm not as busy traveling and competing in the WRC. So I think for every competitor, you know, we share the same opinion that without the marshals and the timekeepers and all the volunteers, what we do just wouldn't be possible. And if I would try to, you know, persuade people that if your car's not ready or you can't make it to an event, to give up a couple of days a year and give back to the local clubs to help them out and marshal. And like I say, I don't do enough, but I would like, hopefully in the future, to be able to help out even more.
No, absolutely. Listen, without volunteers, there'd be no events, you know, so it is crucial. And you know what, am I right? This is what, your fifth year in the WRC. Like, are you still learning, you know, as an experienced co-driver, are you still picking up, you know, bits and pieces or hints and tips as you go along on each event?
Yeah, every day is a school day. I think, okay, yes, I've been in the WRC now for 5 years, and for sure, what I have learned over them 5 years has been, incredible. But still, there is little things and tips and tricks that you can pick up along the way, and there's no doubt about it that I still have a lot to learn and a lot more experiences to gain. But I feel at the moment that we are competing really well together, myself and Taka, and the relationship is really strong, and with everyone in the team we work so well together. And it's not just an individual sport, it's driver, co-driver, but you have your engineer, your mechanic, all of the team behind you in the service park and in the factories all over the world. So for me, it's a fantastic journey that we're on, and I'm really enjoying it with all the team members, and we all learn from each other, and we all strive to improve and to be the best.
And looking forward to next year, it's just been announced there's a change in the point system for WRC. I suppose we could see on a Sunday for the last couple of years, a bit of tire saving going on, and people focus more on the power stage points than the 3 stages, in the morning before it. Will you see there'll be a new approach now? Maybe will it be a bit more competitive on a Sunday over the full morning loop rather than just the power stage?
Yeah, I think what they have done has maybe taken away some of the options or some of the things that we were doing on a Sunday if you were in a comfortable position to save the tires and give an all-out push on the power stage. But now, obviously, with points being available for the first loop on Sunday as well, it will be important for everyone to try and gain as many points as possible for the championship fight. So I think for sure it will change the attitude of us going into a Sunday, and I think the overall goal to stop us Sunday driving has probably been achieved, and it should make it more exciting for the fans and the spectators at the stages to watch also.
And then I suppose just to finish up, I suppose your own plans for next year, any change in the approach? Callie's on a part-time drive now as well as Sebastian.
The approach is always the same, to get from point A to B as fast as possible. So that's the goal, and that's what we will be fighting for. And I think next year we're going into now our 3rd full season together, plus the couple of rallies that we did in 21. So for me, we know each other really well now, and I am enjoying working and competing with Taka. And we will be pushing and working as hard as we can to achieve their best results possible in 24. So we have to wait and see, and we'll be giving it our everything, and hopefully we can make a couple of good results throughout the year, and again contribute to the manufacturer's title.
And are we any closer to getting Taka over for Donegal?
Well, Kenya now has changed its slot, because Kenya was always the same weekend as Donegal. I haven't checked if anything else clashes, but never say never. Never say never.
Aaron, just a huge thanks on behalf of the podcast. It's been great. You've kept us up to date throughout the year, and it gives a fantastic insight and a perspective, from what a professional co-driver does and what a professional WRC team does. So we really do appreciate you coming on to give us these updates.
No, you're very welcome, Conor, and thanks for asking me on again. I would just also like to say a special thanks to everyone from home that has always supported me from grassroots now up until the top in the WRC. And it wouldn't be possible without all of you, and especially my sponsors in Marty McKenna at C&M, Darren and Robert McKelvey from McKelvey Construction, Paul Hughes at PH Shot Blast, and Barry McKenna at ECD. So thanks to all of them and their continued support, and all the fans and all my friends and family from home as well for making it all possible. And hopefully it continues for a few more years anyway.
So again, huge thank you to Aaron. Really appreciate that, and looking forward to catching up with you again in the new year. And from Aaron, sticking with WRC, let's hear from Eamonn Conor, William, Liam, and Seb. William, Liam, just back from hobnobbing in Baku with all of the elite in motorsport, and you still happy enough to talk to this rabble?
Always, Conor, always.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it's
listen,
a good group of people. This.
firstly, congratulations. Fantastic year for you both, and must have been, an absolute highlight to actually go to Baku to pick up your awards.
Yeah, like it was a cool trip. You don't really think of these trips and what comes out of winning the championship whenever we're competing. It's not about that, but then all the things that follow on are pretty special. So yeah, it was a big trip. We were away for 4 days. I think 2 of those days we were in an airplane, so it was a long long trip to go. But all the big guys there and circuit racing, and then of course rallying as well. So yeah, it was cool to be a part of that and mix with those sort of people.
And Liam, even like from your point of view, like be standing and sharing the same room as the likes of Verstappen and these guys. We've talked about pinch yourselves moments before on the podcast. That must be one of those moments.
Yeah, but I was happier to be in the same room as Hamilton rather than Verstappen, to be honest. But maybe a bit biased on that front. But yeah, joking aside, like to be in that room, all the WEC guys were there, F1, WRC, and there's so many people in the room that are operating at a really high level. And for us to be in amongst them and discussing things with them and meeting different people, the tables were kind of mixed up, so you weren't always with you weren't with the same the people you travel with. So it was really good. As William said, whenever you're trying to win these championships, you don't really think about an award ceremony at the end. But yeah, it was great. And Aidan Harbour from Motorsport Ireland was out with us, and a few other representatives from MI. So it was good to sort of discuss things with them, and yeah, we had a really good time.
And you have a bit of history with Hamilton as well, too. Did you compete against him in the karting as well?
No, he was a wee bit older than me. I'll get a bit of slagging about this because I would mention it the odd time. But Lewis is actually 2 years older than me, but my brother was his mechanic. So whenever he raced over here, he stayed with us basically. But I normally mention that about once a week to the DGM boys, and they can remind me of that as well. So a bit of history. That's why I don't recognise Max.
And Seb, you've spent the last year working with Conor and Liam and William and Eamonn. Which one's your favourite?
Niall's my favourite. Liam's my favourite. Me and Liam have a special relationship, don't we, Liam?
I was going to say it runs deep, but there's probably a better way to phrase that. But
runs deep's fine. I'll go with that.
I'm sure you would. But no, it's Seb's been great. I mean, I suppose I have to say a few nice things about him at the start before we tell the truth. But no, Seb definitely brings something to the championship for the juniors, and Adam as well. So we've had 3 great years, a lot of laughs, from the get-go. We always had a good bit of crack. So for an Englishman, he actually fits in quite well with the Irish boys.
And Seb, looking back at the year, what would you say would be the highlights for the lads? What stands out from your perspective?
Jesus. For me, I think for everyone on here, I think the single thing that stands out is actually Eamonn winning in Croatia, given everything. I just thought that was just say having someone Irish winning that weekend just had to happen. And William obviously made sure he was out the picture fairly soon, but Eamonn was there to pick it up and did it, and it was just it was a hard weekend for everyone. I just think it was actually a nice completing moment for the weekend.
Conor and Eamonn, I suppose what is the recollection? I suppose that is probably your own highlights for the year.
Yeah, that stood above the rest now, to be fair. All things considered, it was one of them kind of pinch me moments, but for everybody, as Seb said, under the circumstances, having someone Irish win and in the manner that it happened, considering it was so unlikely that you nearly would have needed some sort of miracle luck, that if you're someone who believes in that kind of stuff, that it would be from someone above. So that was why it was so special. But look, all in all, the whole experience of racing in the WRC was unbelievable. So many different moments, But when things like that happen, it's just pure class. It's boyhood dream stuff. And when you're in an environment like that, it's got the potential to happen at any time. So yeah, it's pretty mad, and we're looking forward to going back next year to try and create some more memories.
And Conor, there was only your second round of the JWRC. Like, how long did it take to sink in that you'd clinched the win in Croatia?
Yeah, we couldn't believe it. Before we went even into the power stage, like we had like I don't know, William and Liam there. We were all sitting together. It was like an hour wait. And there was a lot of things going through our heads. All we wanted to do was just get through that last stage. But the last stage was there was a lot in it, and it was a tricky stage where you could get caught out in plenty of places. But no, it was thankfully when we crossed the line there, it was a big relief. But yeah, it was no better, great feeling like.
Yeah, you knew when you seen Willie Mavidi about 200 yards before the stop car with his hands in the air, you knew everything was good and it had gone to plan. So that's a memory that'll stick with me forever, with his Stevie Wonder shades on. That was pretty good.
I'm surprised you didn't try and run the last couple of 100 meters of the stage with you.
I jump on the bonnet, yeah.
And what do you call it, William and Liam? I suppose you had your own issues, and just looking back to Sweden, and any word on a patent yet for self-closing bonnet pins?
Sweden was probably the worst and the best rally, all wrapped into one. Yeah, it was. It happened, and put ourselves in the back foot. And I suppose the frustrating thing about it was that after it had happened, we went in then to the next stage, and I was just trying too hard, and I then spun in that stage, so I made the job even more difficult for myself. I think we dropped another 10 seconds or so. But yeah, to come from behind then on Sunday, win the rally by such a small margin, and I think the fact that we were able to do that, it showed a lot of strength, and I think proved to myself anyway, that the pace that I could drive at if it was pushed to it. And then events going on like Estonia where we had to drive for stage 1 points, you don't learn those things or progress if you're not put in a position like that. So, okay, maybe rather would not have been in that position, but it taught me a lot at the same time.
Liam, is there extra pressure, with the stage win points, and it's vital to get them? Does that increase the tension in the car?
I wouldn't say it increases the tension, but it fairly focuses the mind. Early on in the year, you don't, as the second half, although we're always aware, from stage 1 in Sweden, the super special, we got the fastest time in stage 1. So we knew right away, these are very important. As William mentioned there, Sweden happened, and it's just about how you deal with these things. There's always going to be something, even for Eamonn and Conor next year, there will be things that are thrown at you that you just have to react to. And having the stage win point system, it can really pull you out of a hole. It really pulled us out a couple of times. As William said, we didn't really want to have to rely on it, but in the end we needed to. So yeah, I wouldn't say it increases the tension, but the championship is so well structured that you can't really forget about it. You have to keep it in mind from the get-go.
And I suppose to pull the win out of the bag in Sweden, it really was a heck of a comeback.
It was a comeback, yeah. We can joke about it now, but from that happening, we never really spoke until the end of the rally. It's not that we fell out, we just didn't really discuss it. We knew we had to go over the notes that night. We knew we had to be on it every corner, like the Sunday morning stage. It had to be perfect. I can't remember what we took out of Laurent, but it was significant enough. And actually, we came to the end of that stage, and there was a delay at the stop car, which is quite strange. And I got my phone out, and Marcus from DJM, who looks after us, he actually texted into our group chat. Well, I can't really repeat it, but we knew it was a good time, put it like that. So, the way it unfolded was it's a bit of a story, but, probably wouldn't want to do it again. We're going to have to bring in some system about double checking these pins. But, it was a good way to start. But in fairness to Laurent, he hadn't really driven that car so much. I don't think he'd driven it on snow. So he picked up the pace very quickly, so you got to give a lot of credit to him. And throughout the whole year, he really did push us, like him and Diego and Eamonn and Conor too.
And Seb, what's your recollections from Sweden?
Well, there's something Liam's not mentioned or will. when they rolled up to the stop line, they were under the impression they hadn't done it because there was Liam sort of touched on a bit of a miscommunication because for some reason a stop line marshal, I don't think anyone actually knows about this properly until now. For some reason a stop line marshal told Laurent he'd won, and Laurent was jumping up and down and dancing away. And then me and Adam got the onboard where like you can just see the disappointment because normally people are elated and these two were just looking straight on. And then it was just like, I mean, Laurent winning, having 0 Ks in that car beforehand or on snow and ice, but then also like a bonnet pin, basically losing you the rally. It was a lot to like. You were happy and disappointed at the same time in a way. And then when it was just like, oh no, actually Will's won, it was like, fuck, that's a comeback. But again, like just how tight it was. And I think all year, the biggest shame of the year in a way is I don't think Will and Laurent have had a clean fight on a single rally, really, did you? I don't know if I'm wrong there, but like
I would say Croatia until
yeah, exactly. And this was it. There was like that's the one thing I'd love to have seen this year, which we got to see in Sweden, to be fair, was like just a ding-dong battle between those two because it was good. It was entertaining.
Yeah, sorry, and like Seb, like just like on my own point of view, like you've seen Will and Liam develop now. This is their 3rd year doing the JWRC. You've almost seen them growing up, coming up through it.
Oh,
like, have you seen that like a more focused approach, or maybe not focused, not the right word, a more steady title bid this year?
Confidence is the biggest one with both. Like me and Adam are actually looking through old content of Will and Liam. Will looks like a child, still does now, but he looks like a prepubescent child for juniors. And I remember like he wasn't shy, but he was like, you could tell that he didn't know when to speak and when not to speak. And now like, well, he speaks whenever, to be honest. You can't shut him up. But the confidence growing, that's with anyone really, that when you see them stick around in juniors for over 2 years, whether they do 3 or 4, it's great seeing that maturity and confidence come through. And like they go from being the new kids on the block to they are literally the ones that everyone's aiming to beat. And there's not many people that you get to see that progression with, whereas with Will and Lee. And then as well because there was a bit in and out of BRC in 2020 and 19 as well. So seeing, sorry, Liam, I don't really remember seeing you much in BRC. I do apologise.
I was too busy working, Seb. That's probably why I didn't see
what
you were doing. But okay.
And but like, you know what I mean? So it's been like, by no means saying I've followed Will since he began, but I saw Will from a national level and then actually progress all the way up. And we'll be watching next year and hoping he does a good job. Maybe not too good job though now, actually.
And Eamonn and Conor, what's it like trying to fit in? Like it's a small group in the JWRC, and you know we've seen on TV the various team bonding exercises from cooking pizzas to whatever. So you know, how easy is it to fit in? What's the camaraderie like?
It's pretty easy, to be fair. You know, it's a small group, but everyone's 100%. You know, everyone's pretty genuine, and that's just competitors. Then you've obviously got the likes of Seb and Adam and all the background team. Everyone is there to help you, and they're 100%. So it's really good fun outside of the car. As I said, everybody gets on. There's no drama. Well, not too much drama anyway. And yeah, it's obviously extra nice then what we had this year, having the Irish boys there, Will and Liam. We had such great crack along the way, and it's just a bit of extra familiarity, and you always get Irish heads popping in and out of the JWRC tent, which is nice, so you never feel too far from home. But when you're stepping into it for the first time, you think it's going to be this big crazy circus, which it is, but when you settle down into it, it's very, very relaxed and very, very enjoyable, and you meet some great people.
Conor, did it live up to expectation? Was there any surprises in competing in JWRC? Was it what you expected?
Oh yeah, well there was plenty of surprises. You're always going to get that when you go to like a a new country, and there's a lot of new things for me this year. But now, especially whenever a lot of the Irish people, nearly every rally, there was somebody that you were going to know, Irish supporters or that. But especially having William and Liam there, like the whole year, we had plenty of crack at each rally, and they were always watching out for us, and we were always keeping watching out for them too. And it's good, like it's good when you have fellow Irish ones there along with you, and you can tag along.
And
Yeah, because like, I suppose that, you know, even to have like the different languages and things, you know, if the road books in a different language, or, you know, anything like that, you have somebody that you can go and talk to. You don't feel awkward then.
Oh, literally, like you can just either me or Liam, or if we had any questions at all, we'd either ask each other, and if none of us knew them, we'd just go on ahead and ask somebody else. They're always very willing to help now, to be fair, in them sport. They'll always be looking out for you.
And well, looking at the idea, the concept behind this, the stage wins, the points for the stage wins, like, do you beforehand, are you selecting which stages you're going to go for, or is it just you just give it your all for, you know, on every stage in the hope of winning, or do you actually have, you know, a plan where you know, or you feel confident that certain stages would go your way?
I think you could plan out what a perfect rally might look like, and then the stages in that where you'd want to go for the stage win. But I mean, out of the 5 rallies, it never goes perfect, and it never goes the way you'd like it to go. But so it's always a change in plan. So I guess it's just, it depends on the context and the circumstances that you're in, and the overall championship position and all that sort of thing. But I think you try to, at least from the recce, try to highlight the stages that you would feel comfortable on if you have to go for a push, or if you have to go for the stage win. So yeah, every driver will feel it, and I think they can, they'll know straight away from wrecking a stage whether that's one that they like or not. So yeah, I think in Greece that was probably more difficult, trying to pick out stages there that if you knew you needed to go for a stage win point. I mean, all of them have rough sections, so it's hard to pick one that is smooth. So it's just really trying to limit the risk, especially whenever there's a championship on the line. It's quite difficult.
And Liam, will you mention Greece there? Like, last round of the championship, double points on offer, torrential rain prior to the event, didn't even know what stages were going to be passable, a few days before the event. Like, how much added pressure was there for Greece?
Just before we get into that, I'm glad that the electric bill's been paid at Creighton's Affinity there. I'm glad the WRC budget didn't ruin the electricity supply there. But no, honestly, Greece was a.
I just say that was really weird. Eamonn and Will just drank water at the exact same time.
So we didn't even know what stage was going to run. We didn't know what stage we were going to get to reggae. Some of the stages you thought, I don't know how I'm going to, William and I would nearly get stuck. I think Eamonn and Conor had to pull something out of the head. So the whole build-up to the actual rally in Greece was a nightmare. William's family had trouble getting in, and that sort of creates a distraction. And, so leading up to the rally, we were sitting, I was actually looking at the sporting regs going, I wonder if they reduce the stage miles, how it would affect the points and all that. So it was very complicated before the rally started. And then you had to go back down to Athens for the super special. So honestly, if it was a cocktail of complications before the thing started.
And Seb, you watched Will and Liam for the last 3 years, and then Conor and Eamonn this year. What do you think is the biggest challenge for anybody coming into the JWRC?
Whoa,
Dealing with Seb.
This is going to sound weird, but being consistently fast. It's like you can be fast on one stage. Loads of people can put effort into one stage, but it's the people.
Hey, what's a couple of weeks out in Germany now, you're on to like a team manager role there. That's you're bang on
also,
there.
They're drilling efficiency into me.
That's a real scientific answer.
You know what? You can be consistently fast over here because there's no speed limits on the motorways. Like being consistently fast, it sounds a lot easier. I think Will and Eamonn can explain it better. But like getting a stage win, like you can push on one stage, but the level's just so high that you've got to be able to deliver on every stage. And Will and Eamonn now know, your first season, like you're going to think you're going to be able to put some fast times in. They'll do all the prep to nail one stage, they get in, and then it's just like, fuck, we've still missed out. Like that level just seems to always be escalating and be inescapable. And yeah, that's the biggest challenge. Like, I think at that level, you've got to have all the basics dialed. You've got to have a co-driver that is 100% switched on, that just knows the regs inside and out. For example, like Greece with all the cancellations or postponements with recce and stuff, like if you don't know your recce schedule inside out and then things start getting cancelled, then you're going to be like literally juggling, not know what's going on. Driver's not going to be enjoying a nervous co-driver that isn't organised, and it all can unravel so quickly. So it's co-driver as well. It's a big challenge, not just for driver. Like, yeah, like you've got to bring your A game at every moment. There's not a single point you can, like Will and Liam not speaking to each other in Sweden. That's because it took every ounce of every second to make sure they could get it over the line in the end.
And Conor, as a co-driver now with a year under your belt, what piece of advice would you give to somebody, or what would you like to have been told or known coming into this back in Sweden last year?
More prep you do before you go to the rally, the easier it will be. The work you put in at home is always a big thing. I think Liam will agree with you on that too, with me on that too. Like it's all the looking through road books, just looking around the area that you're going to be, and stages and roads to the stages, and just different things. Like it's just the prep you do before you go there and not jamming it all in the week that you are there. If you do the work before you go, it definitely makes it a whole lot easier. It makes you be more relaxed for yourself and everything.
You can, like, as a co-driver in those rallies, you kind of need to know the rally before you get there. Before you arrive to the country, you kind of have to have it in your mind where you're going and what you're doing and the layout of the land. And, you know, you need to go through the road book before you get there and see if there's any tricky, like, small intervals. There's so much preparation goes in to our job before you get there. Whenever you get there, there's a lot of other things that go on that you need to have the headspace to work out. So if you have the preparation of the basics done, or of the easy stuff in inverted commas, then you allow yourself the capability to work out everything else, because a lot happens from whenever you land on the Sunday to whenever you're flying home again on the Monday. There's so much going on. Like, so if you can do as much before you get there, the better.
I think that's too where a big kind of shout out has to go to some of the older guys who've been there a lot longer than us too, because for a driver and a navigator, a lot of us would reach out to people with a lot of experience, like a Paul Nagel or a Chris Patterson, before we go to an event for the first time, and they'll give you an hour or two of their time, and they'll tell you about all the niggly things and stuff that you just wouldn't be able to know about without experience. And they really, really look out for you. And yeah, thanks to them, it really helped me personally this year, and I know Conor was the same, and I've no doubt Will and Liam have reached out to people before. But it's things like that you just experiences everything, and without that kind of help, you would be lost at times.
And Eamonn, you were journaling each of the stages basically as you went, with notes, keeping a notebook to look back on. Is that something you did throughout the whole year? Yeah,
it's just part of my prep. I looked at the DVD of the rally, or WRC Plus, and I just write a description of the stage in words, sections, break it up into sections, and describe the way that the road is. It just helps me not necessarily remember the stage, but remember sections, and I always know where I'm at. It's important for the recce, and obviously while you're on the stage, you just kind of know the sequence that's coming up and the style of driving it requires and stuff like that. So just familiarity, and as Conor touched on, the more relaxed you can be when you're over there, and the more reassurance you can give to yourself, the better. If you're nervous or anxious about something and not sure about something, it's going to obviously affect your performance. So yeah, it's all about the groundwork you do at home. It makes things a hell of a lot easier.
And well, from your point of view, the preparation's key. Is it have as much as your ducks in a row as possible before you get there, and then if things happen, things come out of the blue during the week of the recce and whatever, that you're more able to cope with it then?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's also, it's a big thing in your head that if you're able to say to yourself before you get onto the plane, okay, I've done, I've reviewed every stage, or gone into whatever amount of detail in each stage that I wanted to do. And if you can park that at the side and you have it done and you're happy with it in your own head, I think that's half the battle. I do something similar that Eamonn was saying. And I hate trying to cram it in, getting close to the event. So it's nice, to have it maybe done a week before you leave, or a few days before you leave, and then you can just, review everything. Have your bags packed, everything just sorted, that it's not last minute. So as you say, whenever you're traveling or get to the event, it's just focus on anything that comes your way. You don't have to worry about something that should have been done before you left.
Next time, as drivers, you try and wriggle out of doing PR exercises, for example, because you've got to review onboards. You've just blown that excuse right out of the water.
I feel as if I need to defend the drivers there, Seb. Like, whenever you say we'll have a PR exercise at 7 and it's 8:30 and it hasn't started yet, that hour and a half's kind of vital of an evening.
Just saying, if you're going to do a PR exercise in Italy with an Italian company, Pirelli, apply a bit of Italian timing to whatever times are suggested.
With the likes of here in Ireland, we have like Kellyanne or Patterson's notes. No, there's obviously none of that for the WRC. But is there like at a new stage, will they have an in-car, like a car just driving through the stage, or if you go to a new stage, is it just a complete blank page for you?
Yeah, I think it's become nearly a norm now for each rally to publish, organisers' videos. So it'll just be a GoPro or whatever on top of a Jeep that they'll be driving through the stage. And it's good to get an idea of the lay of the land and the characteristics of the stage. But, sometimes it's a wide angle lens and it's very difficult to, understand how fast the bit of road really is. But, it is good to give you an idea of it. But I suppose if they've used the stage before, then you can use WRC Plus and you get a real idea of the speed then, or even if you have your own onboards, and it's good to get an idea. Just trying to break some of the stages up into bits, it makes it a wee bit easier on the recce and a bit easier on your own head. It's very difficult in rallies like Greece. There's a lot of stages with a lot of tree cover, and a lot of it looks the same climbing around the edge of the mountain. But then you get to rallies like Portugal and stuff like that there's a lot of characteristics to the stages, and you can break it up. But yeah, it's funny how your mind works, that you can, I could remember nearly all of the stages in Estonia just being there 2 or 3 times, but I couldn't remember what I did yesterday. So going back to the same rally definitely helps, and the more footage you can watch, I guess, you watch it on the DVD and then you do it in the recce twice and then you rally it twice, so you're over the same bit of road quite a lot come the end of the event.
And like Eamonn, we often hear about the different road conditions by the time you guys arrive. Is that does the road almost look completely different, especially on a loose gravel rally, from what the road that you've recce? Do you have to kind of do that from your recce almost with the thinking that this will cut up here or whatever, or do you have to just recce what's in front of you?
Yeah, you do your best. I think whenever you're on a stage in the recce and you see that it's starting to cut up with a bit of ruts, you note that down, because it's going to be twice as bad by the time you arrive on the first pass of the rally. So you just do your best to keep an eye out for things like that and anticipate the road wear. But look, it's not always 100% accurate. Sometimes you could overcompensate, sometimes you miss things. It's all part of the challenge, especially when the likes of me and Conor going there for the first time. These are the things that you learn, and they're the challenges you face. But yeah, you do your best, and it definitely does change. Some of the ruts and stuff are incredible. It's like driving on train tracks. But look, it's part of the challenge. It's the same for everyone. So you just have to do your best.
Conor, was there a standout moment in the year? Is there anything you remember particularly from a stage or an event?
Yeah, it was probably in Croatia. We came off, I think it was one of the stages on the Saturday, and the stop marshal, actually, he was filling out my time card, and he started to point at the back wheel and he was waving that there was like a fire, and I says, no, it's grand, they do that, there's just smoke coming off the brakes. But then we pulled on ahead just out of the stop car to go off our helmets, and I just got out and took my helmet off and looked down and just seen flames just coming out of the back wheel of the car. And I was like, no, we actually do have a fire. And lucky enough, the marshal actually came running down with an extinguisher then, and he gave it a bit of a blast, like, but the caliper had went up in fire. So, but yeah, that was one of the moments that stood out for me, just that always stuck in my head.
Kept that one quiet.
Just
Yeah.
to know, wasn't because I was doing too much braking. It's before anyone actually mentioned that.
Seb, were you not at the stage end capturing that, or what happened?
No, we was probably having a hot dog at that point, having a break.
I would say so, yeah.
And Liam, out of the 3 years, what event have you enjoyed the most, or what one did you look forward to getting back to each year?
Probably Sweden. I think Sweden is a very rewarding surface to drive on. The drivers can get away with a lot because of the snowbanks. The rally's not sore. It's not sore in the car. It's enjoyable. That Swedish rally is very well organized. I mean, everything in the regs and the road book is as per it should be whenever you get there. So, yeah, we look forward to Sweden. I think Estonia was good. Was a good place to learn how to go fast. I mean, as I've said, I've said this a couple of times. We benefited from having Sami Pajari. We benefited from having John Armstrong there, and these types of drivers brought us on. I remember going to Estonia the first time, and we were very slow compared to everyone else. And by the time, obviously, we went back this year, our speed had changed a lot. I think the power stage in Estonia this year was as close to the fastest I think William and I have ever been. That was a standout stage, and that stage in Greece, were on the Saturday evening, we were 2 seconds a K off Mickelson, and Mickelson was he had to make up time after a puncture, I think. That was as close to being perfect, I think, as we've been, on William's side, and I tried my best to keep up with him, and I managed to get to the finish line just a couple of seconds before him, so that was good. Worked out all right. But Sweden as a rally's brilliant. Estonia, I thought our pace increased over the years, and that stage in Greece was definitely a standout as well.
And do you feel you're a different driver than you were 3 years ago now, starting the championship 3 years ago to what you are now?
Yeah, and I would agree with Liam with all those, those rallies and those stages. And I think the thing that made me realize that I could do that, or make myself, teach myself that I had to be able to do that, was the power stage, or sorry, the stage win points. You're in a position, your back's against the wall, and you have to get the point. And it's so important for the championship. So it just puts you in a position that you have to push flat out. And yeah, I mean, the first year in Estonia, I didn't feel natural, didn't feel comfortable at all. Didn't let the car, slide about and carry a lot of speed. And then even in my own head going back this year, it was a completely different feeling. And just, I suppose, so much more commitment, and so much more enjoyable whenever you have the confidence to do that. It was a really enjoyable event, and as Liam says, that stage in Greece, you hear the drivers always saying about, I don't have the rhythm, or I don't have the feeling, and after getting into that rhythm, I now know what they mean, and I think that's good, because going forward now, I'll be able to recognize if I'm at that position, or how far I'm off that position, to get to that point where you just feel really comfortable with the car, and this, the notes are working as well, that you can just push flat out, and exactly, you feel everything, and it all adds up.
Yeah, you say, but not being in the rhythm, but being in the zone, or being in the rhythm, it's almost a natural. Everyone's just a flow then.
Yeah, definitely. It's quite hard to explain, to be honest. But and I think even from a co-driver side, that stage in Greece, we got to the end of the stage and we're talking to each other, and we knew it was near enough perfect. And it's just getting into that rhythm, and repeat myself, but I only was able to get into that rhythm by having to push to the maximum for a stage win point, or to try and get the win in Sweden. I think getting the win in Sweden was the first thing that kicked it off, and that really, put us in a position to go forward for the rest of the year, and we knew we could drive at that pace when it was required.
And Eamonn, hearing Wall say things like that there, this is something that you need to be aspiring to. Do you feel that, you're going to hit that groove, or have you even experienced that yet?
Yeah, no, I can definitely relate to what he's saying. I think I've experienced being in that rhythm as such, just at a lower level. When I was racing in the likes of the British Championship, you know what it's like to be driving and coming out of a stage and going, yeah, that went near perfect. Obviously, then when you go to the WRC, it's just such a new level. So that level of perfect is just taken away up, and combined with all the new things that you're up against, you get glimpses of it here and there, but you're always learning. There's always new things coming at you, and it can be very difficult to, as Seb says, keep a consistent pace, and that's what you're always chasing. But coming to the end of the year now, I've been fit to obviously look back at onboards, review things, and like it's a no-brainer. There's so much stuff you do differently, be it within your pace notes, the way you drive, and the fact that going back next year, you know what you're up against, you know what you want to do differently. Going into this year, I didn't even know what I was up against. So yeah, I'd like to think that our pace will definitely come on, with the right, obviously the right amount of work. I think that's another thing. It doesn't naturally just come on. You have to put in the work to make that happen, and you have to do the reviewing, and you have to be very critical of everything that's happened in this season. So, but that's what we've been doing. So let's see. I'd like to think so, and we've gotten glimpses and stages here and there of where we've come out of it and gone, yeah, that's felt really, really good. But we'd like to try and make that more consistent this year or next year. But yeah, Will and Liam have been a great inspiration to us because they've proved that's possible, and they've been ridiculously quick this year. And a lot of people probably would, well, I'm not going to say overlook that because it's very clear they've been super fast. But that progress of the 3 years, I think people don't realize just how much effort goes into bringing yourself on like that. So yeah, it's a credit to them, and hopefully we can replicate it in some shape or form.
And I suppose looking forward then to 2024, is the JWRC the main priority for yourself then, Conor, next year?
Yeah,
we're going to concentrate on it anyway, and try and put our full effort into the JWRC, and then we'll maybe see whatever fits in after that.
And Eamonn, you got a wee taste of a couple of events in the polo and all that, but I suppose them Rally 3 Fiestas are getting so much quicker now. They're not hugely behind the R5 car now at the stage really either.
Yeah, it's I think they're definitely the handling. They're so easy to drive, and you can get away with so much, and you can really exert a lot out of them. Okay, they don't have the ultimate power and performance of the Rally 2 car, but still driven properly, they can really punch in serious times. When you look at the likes of John Armstrong, or even the likes of Will and Laurent at times, putting in big times. So yeah, driven properly, like any car, they can be well up there, and that's the good thing about a championship like the JWRC. The pace is that high that you probably, if you're at the top, you are going to be exerting the most out of the car. So any championship that has a big pace, and you're exerting the most out of the car, that's some feeling if you're up at the sharp end of it. So yeah, look, I think next year for us, it's important just to focus on the Rally 3 car, and try and get the most out of it, learn it as best as we can, and just stick to that. And yeah, we'll do a few prep events in and out of the JWRC that'll help them rounds. And yeah, like I said, just full focus on that. It's amazing to be a part of that championship. So we just want to make the most of it next year and try and just do our absolute best.
Sure. And well, the part of your prize as well for winning the JWRC was allowing you then to step up to the Rally 2 category. Is that plan progressing? Is there anything that we can say yet, or is it all still working to fall into place?
Yeah, well, obviously we've got the prize for winning the championship, 4 rounds in WRC2, and then 200 tires from Pirelli. So the plan will be to use that prize, and we'd like to add more to that if we can. But like everything, the step from Rally 3 into Rally 2 and the WRC2, it's it's a big step in all areas, competition and budget as well. So it will come down to that as well, that whether or not we can make that work. So been working hard over the last month or two now, and hopefully we'll get somewhere now over the Christmas period and into the new year, because it'll not be long coming now to the first round in Sweden.
Yeah, and like, is it like, will the intention be go back to the events you're familiar with, or is there any other events that you would, really that's on the bucket list to do?
Yeah, well, I mean, for the four that we know we're gonna have, it makes it. Well, I think as part of the championship, you go back to the rounds that are in the junior calendar, but you know, regardless, we would go to the rallies that we've done for experience, because doing 3 years in the JWRC, when you go back to the same event again, it's a massive help. So that would be the aim there. But I suppose I need to say a thanks to Msport Poland. We've been with them for three maybe that's Msport Poland ringing me.
Like
Been
an
with them
unpaid
for
bill or something, William, is there?
yeah.
Like,
There's an unpaid bill somewhere. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, rent's coming in.
You can notice that's why I'm not answering it. Yeah, we've been with them for 3 years, and particularly in in Greece, whenever our back was up against the wall, they were there, and Daniel and all the mechanics dug deep, and without that effort that they put in there that night and Friday, we wouldn't have won the championship. We wouldn't have been back out on Saturday morning. So that's a massive thanks to them for what they did then. And over throughout the whole season, it's been so much fun. We've and then all the support from back home, as the guy said, there was never, there was always an Irish table in the catering at WRC, and it was always good fun. And then even the WRC put out a thing there this week that we had been nominated for most improved driver, and I thought, sure, I'll share this to see if a few people would vote for me. And I looked at my Facebook yesterday evening, and like every motor club, every rally page had shared this, and I suppose that just it showed me the support that we have back home. Sometimes you forget that whenever things like that happen, it makes you realize. So a big thank you to everyone there, and I think we brought some positive news back to what's been a very difficult year back home.
Sure. And Liam, like, I spoke to Aidan Harper last week, and that's what he was saying. Walking down through the service area, like, and to see the Motorsport Ireland Academy flags flying, like, and not had away in the corner, like this was at the top table, like that filled him with pride. So, like, for you to be part of that, it must be pretty awesome to be front and centre of all that as well.
Yeah, just to go back on what William said there as well, the support we have from people at home days and the hard days, and you get a text message from somebody at home, like it really helps. So we do really appreciate that. And also about Msport Poland, like without Daniel and McKaylee and Maciek and everyone, you could go on and name all these people. They are so committed to keeping those cars going. They don't really get enough credit, I think. And even in Greece, didn't change your gearbox, Eamonn, in like 12 minutes or something.
Yeah, we had 15 minutes to change a full gearbox change, and they did it in 14 minutes and 50 seconds or something.
So it's a proper outfit. Now we'll be sad to move on from them in a way too, because we've built up a great relationship from them. I think they're delighted that Seb's moving on, but anyway, we'll come back to that later. Look, in terms of the Irish thing in WRC, there's never been a better time to be Irish in the WRC. The support from the academy, the support from MI, the structure that's in place now. Everybody on this is benefiting from efforts of other people. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, to walk around the service park and to see, the flags flying and on the stages, they're all waving at you and waving the flag up and down. It's surreal sometimes, especially, we had Monte Carlo there at the start of the year with Josh, and I think that's what Aidan was talking about. We're in a real purple patch here, and hopefully we'll capitalise on that, trying to get the WRC back in 25.
Yeah, I think even that would be like, the ultimate goal, WRC Ireland back here in 2025, a 3-year plan in place. Like, you talk about, boyhood dream come true, I would say that would be on your bucket list by then.
Oh, stop. It would be unbelievable to bring that circus over to, to roads that and let alone fantastic stages, which I hope we use.
Round crosses, Eamonn, no?
No, because I tend to crash when it comes up around there, so get away from crosses. I think we've got so much to show and so much to shout about and be proud of. So that's why it's exciting. I think that we can take the WRC here, showcase the stages, showcase the scenery, the towns, the people. You know, it's a no-brainer. People will love it. I've no doubt. I hope if we use the right stages, the drivers will love it, which is extremely important because they're the main event. They have to love it. But I've no doubt, people will finally understand what we always rave on about and what the likes of Craig Breen used to rave on about. That's why it's exciting. So yeah, and then there's obviously the element of potentially getting to do the rally, which is another thing. That would be special. It's one of them things because it hasn't happened. I don't know how it would feel. I remember going back to watch Rally Ireland in 07 and 09, and that was pretty special, standing on the ditches. And yeah, I suppose as a young lad, you'd look at that and say, geez, I'd love to be lining up there. I'd love to be part of that. So the fact that that actually is potentially on the cusp of happening, it is pretty mad. So it does sound like a dream, but I hope and I've no doubt that MI are doing everything they can to make it happen.
And Seb, obviously the JWRC, it's it's that first rung of the ladder to bring on the next level of drivers and co-drivers, etc. Like, there's limited places available in the works teams, but do the teams pay? Do they notice the JWRC guys? Do they pay attention to what's happening?
Yeah, like Gary Matty knows the names of the drivers. Like, where were we last year or the year before? I bumped into him in the service park, and Sammy had rolled, but he'd rolled like 5 minutes before. I don't know if you remember in Croatia, basically, he rolled over a crest and carried on. And we thought he was out. We thought he'd gone to the end and retired. And then Yari Matty came up. He's just like, oh, do you think they'll fix Sammy's car? I was like, what do you mean? He's just like, oh, well, he's driving back. So, and I know from working very closely with him, Rich keeps an eye on it. I guess William is now speaking with Richard a lot. And Cyril, I know, is also aware of juniors. Like, at the end of the day, these guys are looking for the guys to be in a WRC team in about 3 to 5 years. And I think we're seeing it with some drivers now. But not even the team principals, like the drivers as well. I don't think it's a secret that Oit supports Robert a lot. And there's drivers that actually take other drivers under the wing. Craig was famous for it. Craig supported, I think, everyone in here, with John as well, even though John was Northern Ireland. Like, everyone's got their eye on juniors because a lot of the drivers have been there. Like, Elvin came through there, Thierry, Danny, Craig obviously was through there, Seb Ogier. Like, there's a very big extended junior WRC family that Yari Matty, he had a terrible year when he did it in 2004. There's so many ex-junior WRC members now that have all got fond memories of it. I'm now an ex-junior WRC member to a degree, and I'll forever keep my eye on it and keep watching and keep supporting and everything, because it's the best rally championship in the world. I'll never change my mind on that.
Well, is it still sunk in that you're WRC champion?
I guess it has sunk in, but it's it's such an intense year, a lot riding on it. But then now to look back on everything, all the memories, all the funny times, it's you could literally write a book. It's been so much fun, and we've been lucky to do 3 years of it. So we've come a long way from where we started, and fingers crossed now going into next year that we can keep that line of progression. It's going from such a high now, and then you go into WRC 2, it's going to be so competitive that we got to get back to that sort of mentality that we came into the start of the juniors with, and determined to work and try and improve to get in the pace of these top guys.
But you have to feel that you're getting in there in a good place.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, we've learned so much from driving then to the pace notes, and it's constantly evolving, and you're always trying to improve. But we're in a really good position now to step in. I think we've served our time, and really excited now to move into the next level and try and do something there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Liam, equally, championship co-driver. you know, from your perspective, like that's a heck of a partnership you have with William, and it's great to see it continuing.
Yeah, whenever you say had there, I thought maybe there's an exclusive here that I didn't know about. But
No, purely a slip of the tongue on my part.
Happy Christmas! Look, it's been great. You know, we've been competing together for a long time. We've been through lows. We've been through obviously a lot of highs there lately, and yeah, it's just great to be able to continue that into 2024. You know, our journey through the juniors, we really started at the bottom. Like I remember coming into the first service in Croatia, and that was during COVID, so there's no spectators. And we came into the first service, and William's dad, Niall, sort of took me to the side and was like, "What's wrong? You're a minute and a half down after 3 stages." Well, there was nothing wrong. We were just in the WRC. Do you know what I mean? So to go from that to what happened in Greece has been such a journey. And we've met so many good people. You know, it's the people that make this sport too. Like, okay, the competition's great and all that, but see, to have the crack that we have a bit like on this, you know, that's something special as well that you get access to doing this sport. So no, we've had a great time in the juniors, and you know, we're looking to push on in WRC 2 then as well.
I can't remember what it was for. I was writing something or doing something after Greece, and I was on the EWRC, and I think we've done, if you include the Junior 1000 rallies, I think we've done 97 events together, which I was frightened to tell my dad that, but it's yeah, I don't think there's, you know, I think to get a partnership like that, you probably have to go quite high into the WRC. So, you know, there's obviously something that works very well there.
And then, Eamonn, you know, win under your belt in JWRC in your first year at it, you know, that must give you a huge lift of confidence going into year 2.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose it takes the pressure off trying to get a first win as such. It wasn't a win that I achieved in the way I'd like to achieve it, but you know, I still want to try and push on and be fast and win by being the fastest. But it definitely takes the pressure off, you know, wanting a win, because we've experienced what that's like, and it's incredible. But now I can just fully focus on trying to be as fast as I can and get stage wins and stuff like that. That's the next barrier that we want to try and break. But yeah, full focus on that. Everything we've experienced this year has been absolutely incredible, more than we could have imagined. So yeah, it makes me super excited for the next year. It's such an incredible championship. It's very hard to describe to people at home what it's really like. But you pick up some experiences and some memories. So no matter what happens, it's you're very, very lucky to be involved. But yeah, like I said, next year, no matter what happens, it'll be a blast, I hope.
And Conor, 3rd place co-driver in the JWRC in your first year. You know, what's your thoughts going into 24?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting going in Sweden anyway. I didn't actually expect, I didn't even realise that I had got 3rd until it was John Klein said it to me going up to the final control, and didn't even realise it. But yeah, no, it was great.
It wasn't John. I was driving, and then I said it, and John was just like, "What?" I was just like, "Yeah," and I explained it to him. And I told John, he's just like, "Oh, interesting," and he got his phone out. I'm claiming that one.
Okay, right.
Sorry,
Seb told me
that was me.
You're on the ball, Seb. Good man.
You're not there. Sit back.
Obviously, Adam told you that then, Seb.
Kelly told me.
Seb, obviously you weren't going to tell Conor. John had to tell Conor, so it was nice.
Sorry, it was John. John knew all along. John was rooting for you from the beginning.
Thanks, Seb.
I think you speaking about John there, the stress that we put him through as well on the Sunday of Greece. I know, speaking to them after, I think I was sitting in the catering with the laptop open, because it was so difficult that after each stage, obviously depending on who got the stage win point, championship position changed, and then if I think it was Hamza that he then retired, maybe that was on Saturday even, but you know, if someone then went out of the rally, then everybody moved up a position and the points gap changed, so it was literally changing stage by stage. So it was quite difficult whenever the overall championship position was so close. So John was feeding all the information back into Liam and I, and then we knew what we had to do in the next stage. So it was it was such a long event, but stressful for everybody. At least Liam and I in the car, we could just focus on what we could do, whereas everybody back in service was trying to do it all for us.
I think John had this Excel sheet, and I think if he had to change it or input anything else into it, it was going to blow up. That was the kind of scenario that it was.
I think William's mum gave some good advice there. They were heading up to the stage end, which we never actually got to because the stage was cancelled. But I was delighted that everybody was kind of going up there because it meant we could sort of focus on the last stage, the power stage in Greece. And I'll let you explain, William, what sound advice your mother gave you.
Well, I get my competitive side from my mum. She rode for Ireland in the Olympics a few years ago. Yeah, anyway, she came up to me before we went out to the last stage, and I think everyone came up and sort of shook my hand, and as if I wasn't already nervous enough. And they all said, good luck and do your best. And she came up and she gave me a hug and she said, "This is it now. Don't fuck it up." So, and sound advice it was too.
And I suppose the very last words should go to John Coyne. Like, Eamonn, this man made it all happen. Maybe eventually another year or so. You said your plan this year really was the BRC until you won the Ballycoleman Award. That elevated you to the JWRC. Like, John Coyne has been a game changer when it comes to Irish rally.
Yeah, definitely. It was never my intention to go to the Junior WRC. In my plan, it was, but I kind of gone about it an adverse way of trying to build up four-wheel drive experience first and get fast and then go there and be this big hero in 3 years. But no, he kind of just said, look, you need to go now because you're getting old, basically. But no, he was dead right. And if it wasn't for that advice, I wouldn't have gone and I wouldn't have had one of the best years in rallying and in my own life as I did this year. So I have to thank him and the whole academy team for that, and just the general advice that you're fit to get from them throughout the year. And you can always rely on them to jump on a call and get feedback on your plans and the way you're going about things. They've obviously built up a massive amount of experience with the work they've done with Josh over the past few years, and Callum, Divine even previously. So they're experienced, and that experience benefits the likes of me, William, and future guys coming through the ranks. So we're very, very lucky. You can really rely on them. And yeah, we're, I suppose that the academy is a bit of a force to be reckoned with on the world stage now. They've gotten a lot of good publicity this year, and it's fully deserved.
Yeah, and well, last word to yourself then. Like, MI Academy, like as Eamonn said, they're world changing. You've benefited from that there to the extent that you're now a world champion. That's like, what can we say that hasn't already been said about the MI Academy?
I know it. We started right at the bottom in the Junior 1000s, then R2, Rally 4, Rally 3, and now hopefully Rally 2. So it's the pathway is there, and it's clear for the guys coming behind me now to see, the guys and the girls. So and it's as simple as I wouldn't have been doing the Junior WRC if it wasn't for the support of the academy throughout the last 3 years, and their advice and all the training days, and for John there in the background, and how keen he is for it, and how involved he is. It's great, and there's a clear goal here, and we're trying to get to the top, and we're not stopping now. So fingers crossed we can keep pushing forward and progressing.
What can we say? I'm still laughing and giggling at it yet, some of the stories. Brilliant, great crack, and really looking forward to seeing how it all pans out in 2024. Like, I know probably Will and Liam are kind of playing down their chances of in 2024, but I can see him shining when you get into that Rally 2 car. I think watch this space, But and also Eamonn going back to the JWRC as well too. Hopefully, fingers crossed there that's a successful campaign there too. Don't want to put too much pressure on them, but best of luck, lads, anyway, in 2024. So that's that special. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did recording it. So until the next time, take care, speak soon, and bye.